Hello. This video is going to be about my health issues, a timeline of my health issues my whole life. Um, because I think it's important to uh, let people know what all has been going on that I haven't been able to talk about to a doctor. I haven't understood what it was, and things I wasn't uh, diagnosed with in my childhood, um, that I'm fairly certain I had. And just because my health has gotten completely out of control the past 3 years, and uh, have gotten absolutely no help from any doctor. Um, yeah, I'll get to that. I'll start from the beginning of my life. I was born with several conditions that have never really gone away. Uh, a few of them have just happened to. But one condition that was very serious in my childhood that was never I don't it was never diagnosed that I remember at all, and that has persisted my whole life. Never understood what it was. Is a sensitivity to light that seems to be uh, pretty bad sometimes. The diagnosis I've come across that uh, kind of describes it is porphyria, which is um, excess porphyrions in your eyes. I think in your skin as well. Maybe I haven't done a ton of research, but the main thing is I just to mention, in my childhood, I was in preschool. I remember very clearly we went outside to take a picture uh, of of our whole preschool class, and we were all facing the sun, and I just remember for some odd reason facing the sun during that picture burnt my eyes very, very badly. Very, very badly. And I just remember like looking around and no other kid was in any kind of discomfort, um, that I could tell at all. And I just remember, like, I can just remember the pain. It was just very bad. And, um, uh, and a similar issue that was happening in my childhood was I would, my skin would burn really easily in the sun. And, um, can recall times I went on vacation and uh, was like no matter how much sunscreen I wore, I just still burnt like crazy. And it was very, very bad sometimes. Um, that's one condition that I could go on with several other things that have been seem to have come from that throughout my life. One thing that has always been kind of an issue is just like the I have the urge to sneeze every time I walk outside, every time I kind of see a bright light. Uh, and I don't know. I think that's fairly common. I don't know how common that is, but um, there's been other things with uh, my health recently. A condition I um, contracted a few years ago that had very crazy visual issues that uh, the eye doctor never finds anything wrong. Uh, anything wrong with that, and they always say my eyes are perfect, but I'm nearsighted. Um, and so that's probably kind of a sign of a neurological thing, um, which runs a little bit in both sides of my family. My aunt has had nervous issues. I think it uh, tends towards anxiety as well, um, which I also have, and uh, so but maybe kind of genetic, maybe a kind of a nerve issue. Um, Specifically, got very bad for me a few years ago, and I'll get to that. I think it's also kind of worth mentioning a few other issues I've had with my health um, throughout my life. So given that I was born with several conditions, and this light sensitivity nerve issue has persisted my whole life, I also wonder what how it could have been affected by some fairly abusive things that happened to me in my childhood. And to to put it simply, I was deprived of oxygen very badly uh, twice. I was maybe I won't go into all the details of that, but I was deprived of oxygen for at least 5 minutes straight. I think it was longer. Could have been more like 10 minutes straight. Um, Two different times. No, three. Three different times. Maybe some more. Point being, all I remember is I was, every time it happened, I was just never the same. I could barely, my motor skills were, I lost motor skill. Had a lot of difficulty moving, difficulty breathing, and it got worse and worse. Um, and I think that basically caused a condition itself that made me very disadvantaged and very clumsy throughout my teenage years. And there were several times that made me very disadvantaged, and I like hurt myself. I couldn't keep up with people. I couldn't keep up with the other kids playing whatever. And I don't know. It was just kind of humiliating, I guess. Like I just never wanted. I don't know. Just couldn't understand why I was like that. Why I had to be like that. And I don't know. That probably had a big impact, fairly large impact on my mental health issues that ensued around my teenage years. And as far as that goes, I mean, I could talk a lot about that, but maybe I'll make another video about mental health. Because that definitely has had a big impact on my physical health. And but the main point being, I was diagnosed with major depression and generalized anxiety disorder, I think it was. And those were the only diagnosis I got for that. And I tried psychiatry for several years, a few years at least, 3 or 4, I don't know, and it never helped. And I worry that, well, I know for a fact that there were 2, 3 times that I had really adverse effects, side effects from psychiatry. And, well, I guess out of 20 different medications I tried, that's not terrible. But then there's just the fact that none of them helped anything. And the main issue for my depression and anxiety was the people I was around and their mindsets and the things they did to me. It was never really addressed. And and just went on to get worse. And so, I'm not very keen to the idea that just kind of numbing myself, numbing the pain, taking some kind of chemical is going to change, the environmental factors hurting me. And I don't know, maybe something could help with uh, my general functioning, executive functioning. I don't know. I've found that it's just not very feasible, tenable to pursue psychiatry anymore. Um, and I'll get to that. I'll keep going chronologically. Why that is. Um, Basically, I was hurt pretty bad by a adverse reaction to a antidepressant recently, and I'm yeah, not very gung ho about doing that anymore. Uh, but I'll get to that. Give you a little more context to that. Well, I guess another sort of psychiatric issue that was going on for a long time was I had a lot of sleep issues. I could hardly sleep most nights, starting in towards the end of high school, about 10 years ago. Uh, uh, yeah, that did persist for quite a while, um, pretty often. Very bad sleep issues, and tried a lot of medications, tried a lot of supplements, herbs, um, techniques, sleeping techniques. Uh, very few things helped it. I, uh, yeah, and the things that did help it didn't consistently help it at all, and so, um, well, I worry that uh, really could have caused brain damage itself, the lack of sleep, and around 2021, uh, I was having to work a lot. I was um, being overworked at a um, in home care company where I was helping elderly people and disabled people in their homes, and it would become that they were understaffed and they didn't have anyone to help some of their clients, so I was almost guilted, say morally obligated to just uh, do two shifts in a row just so somebody has someone to help them or watch them. Um, and uh, for some reason, that turned into, I think there were two separate occasions where I had to work 2 days straight with no sleep. And I just remember that not being pretty, not uh, being very difficult and very disturbing, uh, having some deep effect on me. And I I don't know. I recall there was, I mean, just some. I could tell something was happening in my brain, and it was not good, and I didn't know what to do. And I don't know. And not long after that, for some reason, it was like my sleep was just still getting worse and worse, and um, to the point of I was barely sleeping, and I was really disoriented all the time, and I just couldn't do anything, and I don't know. Uh, yeah, I tried a sleep apnea machine. They said I had slight sleep apnea. Well, it didn't help very much, and for some odd reason, I remember had a very weird adverse reaction to the sleep apnea machine. Uh, Very odd thing. Caused some kind of psychological condition where uh, I don't know. I woke up in the night once and I was in some sort of psychotic state. I was Some sort of psychosis was induced where I was like in a dream, but I was awake, and there was all kinds of bizarre things happening. And for some reason, it was like I don't know. I don't know that I'll ever find the words to describe how weird and crazy that was. And um, it basically just like made my brain freak out about what was going on, what was happening to me, and uh, for some reason I have almost like a PTSD episode every once in a while about that night, and it was just so I still don't know. I just don't know what it is. It's obviously some kind of brain thing. I don't know. It's just so odd how it happens. Like, um, just randomly happened again the other day. I don't have a sleep apnea machine. I don't have nearly as bad sleep issues. I mean, it's still pretty bad, but uh, but I just have no clue what set that off. It wasn't. It was just in the morning. One day I was just um, I had trouble sleeping, and then it just suddenly happened again. Same exact dream I had years ago. Uh, it's a very bizarre dream. I would, if you could call it that, I would just. It's just like this weird psychotic state. Maybe worth describing to a psychologist at some point. But yeah, I just find it very odd that that started with the sleep apnea machine and never had anything like that in my life before. So I don't know what to say about that, but and then my life turned for the worse after that happened. Lots of things turned for the worst, and I just basically couldn't recover. Along for a very long time. And um, yeah, just to summarize kind of what was going on, came across some more very abusive people. And I'm gonna make another video about that because it's just whole thing in itself. But basically, uh, being pretty heavily abused, um, verbally, uh, psychologically, and I was in a lot of stress, and um, I had nervous breakdowns where I couldn't I couldn't control my anxiety. I couldn't control my thoughts at all. And it was um uh I think it was monumental. I think it was uh the main cause of a nerve condition I had developed in my back, um, that was apparently neurodegeneration in my back, uh, and in my neck some, but mainly in my back that got very bad. And that led to uh, my, I don't know, a brain condition. Somehow that caused a brain condition. And I'm very convinced of this. And how that happened was very bizarre. I woke up one day and it was a pretty normal day. Pretty normal day. And I just sit on the side of my bed and put my glasses on. And as I was doing that, something happened that made me extremely disoriented to the point of no return. To the point of just like almost like I was put in another sort of psychotic state, but it wasn't. There wasn't a dreamlike state or anything. It was just like I'm just suddenly, I have no control over my perception of my executive function, if you could call it that. I had no control over my spatial awareness, and it was just extremely disturbing. I just have no clue what it is really, other than uh, a nerve condition, brain condition. Um, and that turned into, I began seeing flashing lights randomly all the time. And I would also see black dots all the time, which could just be a migraine that can come from a migraine. I didn't really have any headaches. I had pain. It wasn't really like a headache, but the flashing lights was out of control. Um, And also, I would see strange colors, strange, like flashing colors, for no apparent reason. Kind of like if you've ever seen those optical illusion pictures with, like circles and a bunch of different patterns, and if you look at it a certain way, uh, it just like creates this weird effect. It was almost like I was seeing that everywhere, and there were times when that was just unbelievably disorienting, and I couldn't do anything. And but I still just like had to push myself through it and work and function. And I was just like, just kind of demoralizes you about ever getting any help. And if you just have no clue what happened to begin with, can't even describe it, and it's just like, okay, this is my life, I'm just gonna have to push through this. Well, oddly enough, I started getting a lot of symptoms of multiple sclerosis. And uh, I got every symptom of multiple sclerosis on in major ways. And it was very debilitating. I was I would compare it to cerebral palsy. I would compare it to that. I could barely move. I could barely move normally. I had like no control over all kinds of random things with my body. I was in a ton of pain. I could not think straight at all. And I don't know what to say other than I'm very traumatized by it. And um and that just got worse and worse, for the most part. And I saw a neurologist, and he didn't really say anything. He didn't say he's all he said was he didn't notice anything about me that was telling of a neurological issue. Um, and and then I got an MRI. I got an MRI done, and for some odd reason, this MRI machine hurt me very, very badly. Um, I was, I mean, the first thing that happened was I got sick. I was about to get sick from the fluid uh, you're injected with to help with the imaging or whatnot. And then the next thing that happened was I could barely move, and my back and my neck and my head were in. It was like I was being tortured in this MRI machine. Now, why is that? Could it be because my nerves were extremely degraded? Um, and the magnets, the magnetic, whatever, uh, was way too forceful for my nerves to handle that. Well, yeah, I don't know. I was also, I guess it is worth mentioning before I got that MRI machine, the MRI done, my health had come to a very, very bad point. Um, I was very deprived. I was in tons of pain. Um, and there was nothing I could do. And I'm going to make another video talking about what led to that. Um, and yeah. But just in terms of the general diagnosis and things doctors have told me, they have never helped anything. They have never, it has never amounted to anything at all. Um, I have had to pull myself up by my own bootstraps, dealing with, even just dealing with the contradictions of the different doctors I've seen. And yeah, I basically became completely disabled and barely leave the house. I can barely take care of myself. And I am 90% sure, 99% certain, I almost died about 6 months ago. And, well, I've probably almost died many times throughout my life because of these conditions. And, but this one takes the cake. Like, this one was, like, I am, I don't see myself living to old age because of these things. I don't see myself living to 30 because of how consistent these issues have been. So what am I supposed to do? I mean, in all honesty, I'm not worried about dying. How long I'm gonna live. But it's just like I've never heard of anyone I know, anyone I don't know, anyone I've ever met that has had conditions like this. Like I've met a few people with cerebral palsy, but just other than that, I hardly ever hear of anything like any of this, or um, so yeah. Um, I guess just one last thing to kind of say about that was I um, uh, the only thing that has had a real substantial uh, benefit uh, for my conditions is just having a very strict, healthy diet and some exercise. I can't really exercise now, but uh, 6 months ago, I almost died. Uh, and so I just went back to reading as much n- research on nutrition science that I could find, and started trying a lot of different things. And I think I've narrowed it down to a few things that have really helped. For one, zinc. 30 milligrams of zinc with 2 milligrams of copper can heal wounds in the body. Um, it can also apparently heal or help PTSD uh, by healing the prefrontal cortex, which in turn helps you make new memories. Um, I think that has had a profound effect, and uh, as well as magnesium. Uh, it's been said that our food and our water is depleted of magnesium. Probably the past 100 years, because there's all kinds of other studies about uh, how our food is being depleted of nutrition because of monocropping, probably pesticides, uh, or GMOs, all kinds of things like that. And so I heavily advocate for magnesium because I don't know, it's just always been something that just always makes me feel better and helps me function. And it's been said that magnesium is just vital to all kinds of functions in the body. It can be good for your heart and your brain and your nerves in general, calms your muscles, help with anxiety. And yeah, it's a little unclear, like what's the best way to take magnesium. Uh, there can be different uses for different types of magnesium, but for the most part, I've found magnesium glycinate uh, to be the most uh, useful one all around. You might could say you shouldn't take it all the time, and you should try to find magnesium in foods high in magnesium. Um, Still tend to just take it uh, uh, fairly often. This one is Walmart brand one. Uh, you can find it at Walmart, and it is a lot better quality than other forms of magnesium. Uh, there are better quality ones than this one, but $12 you can get some decent quality magnesium, and it'll, I don't know, has profound effects on me just recently. Uh, anyway, magnesium helps a lot for some reason. There's a lot more things kind of vital to mental health. Um, I may make another video about, but other than that, yeah, basically just having a very natural diet with lots of vitamins and minerals has healed me a lot. I try to get as many of the daily recommended amounts of vitamins and minerals as possible, and I try to eat as organic as possible. And yeah, other than that, in terms of like the nerve conditions or things that can help nerve conditions, uh, I'm I'm not for certain. I don't remember exactly, but I am pretty sure the main thing that was kind of helping me recover 6 months ago was kefir, which is a uh, yogurt like drink that's very rich in probiotics, and um, it's pretty strong. Has a strong taste, but uh, there's studies showing that probiotics can help with your joints and ligaments, and so it's like the mixture of that with the calcium uh, and fruit. Something about fruit can heal the brain. Um, um, yeah, I could go on with uh, different things like that can help, but I just want to say, like, for some reason, it seems like that was just one of the main things that really helped. Kefir. Um, yeah. Other than that, I still find myself in a lot of stress um, because of this whole situation, and uh, it's just pretty depressing to have such bad health uh, for so long, and um, yeah, it's still have a lot of stress, a lot of depression, a lot of I don't know, weird mental episodes, weird mental issues. Um, and I don't know. Another part of that is it's just very hard to uh, come to get closure about uh, how these things happened, how all my issues started. And I just realized I didn't really explain too much about what happened with the multiple sclerosis. Basically, I I developed some kind of brain damage. Uh, and that's apparently what happens with multiple sclerosis is you'll get a lesions in the brain. And for some reason, it was mainly on the left side of my body, my brain, and the pain in my back was mainly on the left side of my body and in the left side of my neck. It started spreading to the right side, but something else that started and persisted from all of that was all kinds of weird pains and neurological things on the left side of my body. Like my eye was constantly twitching. It would. I had numbness and tingling around my mouth. I had heart pain. I had heart pain at one point that was really bad. And my left leg would go numb constantly. I would have these weird pains in my hands and my arms and my feet. And just kind of all, it was much worse on the left side. And yeah, just another thing to mention about the heart. I was prescribed an antidepressant the beginning of this year that is amitriptyline, is apparently supposed to help with the nerve issues as well. Well, the first night I took it, I had extreme heart pain that felt like I was having a heart attack. And at that point, I was done with just going to tons of doctors and hospitals that never helped anything. And it was just literally like the there I was probably better off just sitting here trying to calm down, trying to numb the pain than even to go to that hospital, to any hospital probably. I don't know. And because it was just par for the course of literally dozens of things like this happening. And so what do? The only thing I can think to do is to just kind of think back to what I was thinking at the very beginning of what my health issues were and what was going to help it, and how I had had a track record of the doctors here not helping anything. And that is just simply what I was thinking was, they don't know what they're talking about. They're not really doctors. They're not, I don't know. They're not mindful people. They are at best arrogant doctors that want to control people. They want to feel intelligent, feel powerful. Who knows? They might even want to make money off of people's sickness. That is a theory about our pharmaceutical industry. And, I don't know. I'm not going to say that whether that is or not. But I will say with just certainty, I have never been helped by pharmaceuticals, by pretty much anything in this medical industry, institution. Uh, and I don't know. Isn't it odd? I get way better after I just stopped doing what they were wanting me to do. I've gotten way better. I was not able to speak like this. I was hardly able to move. I couldn't do anything. Um, it's not all their fault. It's not all the MRI machine's fault. It's not uh, all the medication's fault. There were some very abusive people hurting me, um, and many others, and I'm gonna address that. But I don't know if I kind of look back and say, like, what was I supposed to do about that? How was I supposed to deal with that? Um, I don't know. I don't think I ever really should have just gone to these doctors and hospitals because I would have been better off just doing what I've been doing the past 6 months. Having a healthy diet, sleeping a lot, uh, getting this out, journaling, talking to people about the abuse and whatnot. So there you go. It's not all the doctor's faults. Then again, maybe they need to, feel a little sad, be a little concerned that uh, you've never helped me. You've never helped me. Uh, I just wonder what was missed. What did I leave out? What did they forget? What were they not able to remember? Well, maybe nutrition science is vital for medicine, for the medical institution to truly help people now, uh, and always. Um, maybe so. Never once got nutrition advice from primary care doctor or anyone. I don't know. I've never seen a nutritionist. I've spoken with many health coaches, nutrition coaches, and they're very intelligent. They're very mindful. There is disagreement about like certain types of diets, like keto or carnivore or vegetarian, pescatarian. Um, but why is it that I would never hear? Why would no? I've never heard a single doctor say you shouldn't eat processed food. Processed food is not good for you. You should eat natural food. Never once heard that come out of their mouths. Well, whatever. Maybe people should just know that, and they should be able to tell that. Uh, I don't understand why some people just don't really catch on to it. A lot of processed food is just really, really bad for you. Um, so yeah, my advice would be to eat natural food, as natural as possible, with as few ingredients as possible. Um, Aim for organic food. Uh, it's kind of expensive sometimes. Um, I have found that I can eat a 75% organic diet for less than $10 a day, which I don't think is very untenable for most people. And yeah, um, yeah. I'll probably make another video about that. Just kind of going into nutrition science. Um, but yeah, overall, I don't know. I feel very traumatized, very sad, disturbed, hopeless about how these things have happened to me, and how it's just so consistently been this way, and so I just kind of wonder, maybe my doctors should see this. Maybe they should uh, respond to this in some way. Maybe they could do that. And I would hope that they would be attentive to all of these things about psychiatry never helping me, the testing never helping me. Um, and maybe there's something else going on with my nerves. Maybe there is some serious flaws in our society and thinking, and thus in our medical institutions thinking. And I think there absolutely is. Well, thank you for your time. Um, I hope you learned something. I'm open to comments, talks, whatever, concerns, questions, comments, concerns, anything like that. Yeah, I'll make more videos explaining other things if anyone's interested. Thank you.